I don't want to guess, but who is your favorite?
I want you to guess.
So I only remember saber-toothed tiger.
I don't remember their names. I just remember their colors.
Okay. Would it be the yellow one?
Yes. How did you know? Am I that obvious?
No, because again, light attracts light. I feel like I also gravitated towards the yellow ranger because maybe she was a little bit more feisty and
And then yellow is like, I mean, red is a bold color, but yellow, you can see it. Like,
yes,
it's just so powerful, and the sun, and that is an energy-giving source. So yeah, always just the yellow Power Ranger.
Hey there, and welcome to Impact After Hours, where changemakers sign off from work and log into life. I'm Camila Renton, CEO and co-founder of Human Group Media and your host. Today, I'm excited to find out what Shakirah Hill-Taylor, Chief Digital Officer at Fenton, is really like off-duty. In the field of social change, Shakirah is a force to be reckoned with. For over 15 years, she has helped organizations propel their mission forward through award-winning digital campaigns. Today, she leads the digital practice at Fenton, the first national communications firm exclusively dedicated to progressive social change. Outside of her day job, Shakirah is an author and birth doula, and a really dope one at that. Thank you, Shakirah, for coming on the show.
Oh, hi, Camille. Thank you so much for having me.
So I thought of a few ways to start this interview because as I got to know you more, Shakirah, I could really feel and understand how your passion for social justice transcends like different parts of your life. So you're a C-suite executive. You are also a published author. You also create content. But then I have a confession, and that is I love a good meet cute story. And I know that you have one. And your name, Shakirah Hill-Taylor, there's also a story there with your last name. So how did you meet your husband? Let's start there. Let's start with, a romantic story.
We met in 2015. I was volunteering. My church at the time would do an annual multicultural food event, and I often volunteered for this event. It was called the Taste of Grace, and I was closing up our food service stations and also having conversations with others about starting a run group because I'm a runner. I've been running for the last 12 years now, and was just asking people like, hey, would you be interested in joining a run group? Like, would you be interested in joining a run group? And people were like, tell me more. And then my now husband walked in. I had never seen him at church, but he walked into the event. He's tall, dark, broad shoulders, just very handsome. And I was like, in my mind, who is that? And so I go over and I introduce myself and I said, hi, I'm Shakirah. Everyone calls me Shakes. Would you be interested in joining the run group? And he said, no, I wouldn't.
Absolutely not.
But then we struck up a conversation, and it turns out that we knew, similar people, and he ended up hanging out with me and some friends for the day. And dear reader, he joined the run group. And not only did he join the run group, we ended up running several races together and building a really beautiful friendship. We were friends before we started dating, and then we started dating, and now we're married, and we still run, which is lovely.
I feel like when I was reading a little bit about your last name and how you wanted it as like a combination of your last name and your husband's last name, I felt like, oh, this could be like a reality TV show or something, like the Hill-Taylors.
Oh, yes. We have each other's last name. It was important that our marriage being a partnership, that is reflected of every aspect.
Yeah. And I feel like there's a certain glow about you, Shakirah, and you're beaming. And There's so many things that you do. And before we get into, some of the fun stuff that we have prepared for you, you are also, as I mentioned in my intro, you're a birth doula. Can you just explain to us what that is?
Absolutely. So I am a labor and education birth doula, which means that I am the emotional and resource support for people who choose to give birth. That can look like everything from supporting their educational journey during their prenatal phase. So ensuring that people understand what the rest of their pregnancy is going to look like. We take for granted, because births happen every day, that people just automatically know what pregnancy is going to entail. And furthermore, what birth is going to entail. My job is to make sure that people are well resourced, meaning they have all the materials they need. They know how to get the right partnerships for their birth team built, the right types of questions to ask their medical providers, and also how to get unanswered questions answered. And then also to be that emotional support. You are a mother. And so I'm sure you know full well the complexity of navigating that transition from being Camille, the woman, to then Camille, mother, wife, right? That takes somebody helping navigate that transition and what it means to then be multifaceted in that way. And so I also offer that type of emotional support. And then in the birth room, I am there should my clients desire to have me there to ensure that their desires for their birth preferences or plan can be met to the extent that it remains healthy for the baby and the birthing person and mother. And so if you tell me, Shakirah, when my baby starts crowning, I want Beyoncé's Freedom to play. My job is to say, okay, that baby's crowning, cue Beyoncé or whatever it is. And then if there are things that, should need to deviate, that you understand all of your options to ensure that you're making informed choices, that you're having a quality standard of care, and that your bodily autonomy is being respected. And more than anything, that you and your baby are healthy and happy.
As you're talking and as I'm literally thinking about the many roles and hats you put on and managing all of that, before we leave work, so to speak, I want to learn more about your connections at work. So one thing that I'm curious about is when you're working with someone, what is your biggest green flag?
Oh, that's such a good question. Curiosity. My biggest green flag when working with someone is curiosity, because to me, curiosity signals a willingness to go deeper and to develop some mutuality, however depth or deep that is, contingent upon, the extent of the working relationship. But curiosity signals to me a high degree of emotional intelligence, and that you just care and that you're interested, right? You ever work with somebody and they just come in and they're like, here's what it's going to be. Here's what we're going to do. And all of the on paper things can look good and be outlined, but the feeling and the experience of it just feels very cold. And I think curiosity invites a warmth, and it invites our humanity, and allows us to say, look, at the end of the day, we're people doing our best. And here's a little bit about me, and I want to know a little bit about you, so that as we're navigating whatever client challenge or issue challenge or whatever it is that we're navigating, we're doing that with a little bit of awareness of who we are as people.
I wanted to, get us even more warmed up, Shakirah. So from the meet cute and the love story, and I hope to meet your husband someday, but we're going to do a lightning round of questions.
Okay.
So I hope you're ready to play with me.
I'm ready.
Milkshake or ice cream cake?
Milkshake.
Bowling or mini golf?
Bowling.
Bowling.
Always.
Puppy yoga or goat yoga?
Puppy yoga.
Puppy yoga. Okay. If you could enroll in a class, would you go for dance or singing?
Dance.
Dance. Would you rather be able to understand animals or babies?
Babies.
Babies. Okay.
Yes.
There's some type of theme here. Or even as we're having this conversation, there's some type of theme like animals, babies, love.
My favorite things.
Yeah, your favorite thing. So we got it right. So, okay, can you finish this sentence for me, Shakirah? Back in high school, my friends would say that I am most likely to.
Back in high school, my friends would say that I am most likely to succeed.
And you did.
Yeah.
So it was, do you feel like that was written in your yearbook or?
I feel like that was actually my superlative. Was most likely to succeed.
Did you ever run for, class president?
I was vice president of our student government association. I was, not valedictorian, salutatorian.
Salutatorian, yes.
Yes, I was salutatorian of my graduating class. The ambition is born and bred in me as part of my ethos, but it's not a ego-driven ambition, although,
yes,
we all have some ego. I mean, I'm here on a podcast with you with like makeup on, right? But, it really is one. I come from just both sides of my family, generationally, very ambitious and brilliant people. And I think there could be no other outcome for me based on what is in me because of the people that I come from. And also, I am very thankful that on my mother's side, on my matrilineal side, my grandmother and my mother were very entrepreneurial and innovative women. And so seeing that kind of intrepidness was very transformative for a young woman growing up in circumstances where society is telling you because you're young, you're Black, that you come from immigrant people, that you're of a lower socioeconomic status, that, all of the things that you won't succeed. But that was not what I experienced, even though the macro conditions were difficult. In my day-to-day, I saw my mother, who came to America, worked very hard to build. Our life was humble, but she built it. And my grandmother built many businesses in the UK. And so even though the macro conditions were trying to plant something, what's in my heart and in my DNA, the two were incongruent.
I'm very curious about this because I feel like you also do a lot of things that help you relax or help you sort of take your mind off of work. But if you're having the worst day possible, how do you unwind?
Well, I'm probably going to go to my kitchen and cook to like physically get the feeling of anxiety out of my body. I'll cook. I'll probably pour a glass of wine, throw on a podcast or something to just take my mind off of it. But I love to read a good book, Camille.
Same.
Like after I eat, I will go and I will pick up a book and I will get lost in the story until I'm like, okay, the world is going to be a better place. If this person made it through, whether it's fiction or nonfiction,
exactly,
surely we will make it through.
And sometimes when you spend time like reading, let's say, or maybe watching something that doesn't really relate to your day job, you feel that the world is so much bigger.
Yes.
There's so many other events or characters, that are out in the world that you just don't get exposed to because you're also very focused on what you're doing,
career,
right?
yeah.
On your job. So I feel like we're, again, kindred spirits. I feel like I've found people through this show in a short amount of time that love food, love reading. So maybe
Well, you know what they say, light attracts light.
There you go. So we'll have to do it in person, over wine, books, food. It sounds like a perfect day.
It does.
If you could bring back a show from your childhood, let's go back to your childhood again, Shakirah, what would it be?
Probably the Power Rangers.
And I don't want to guess, but who is your favorite?
I want you to guess.
So, okay, now I'm trying to remember each one, but I only remember Saber-Tooth Tiger and the other, and the pink one.
I don't remember their names. I just remember their colors.
Okay. Would it be the yellow one?
Yes. How did you know?
I feel like
that obvious?
No, because again, light attracts light. I feel like I also gravitated towards the yellow ranger because maybe she was a little bit more feisty and like.
Mm-hmm. And then yellow is like, I mean, red is a bold color, but yellow, you could see it like,
yes,
it's just so powerful, and the sun, and that is an energy giving source. So yeah, I always just the yellow Power Ranger, that was mine. But I love the Power Rangers and Captain Planet.
What's the best compliment you've ever received?
It would have to be anything. I had an old colleague who, I can't remember why she shared it. It might have been in a review, but she was like, "You're one of the most brilliant people I've ever met."
That is a huge compliment.
It's a huge, and she herself was a very just brilliant woman, ambitious. She came from a brilliant family. And so, Yvonne, if you're watching this, thank you for that compliment, because it has stayed with me all these years. And my husband is the same. He'll be like, you are brilliant. Like, you are a genius. You're the smartest person I know, which, I disagree with, because he is brilliant, and his father is brilliant. His mom was incredibly brilliant, but received humbly, because that's a big weight to carry.
Brilliant is such a great word, because especially if, someone called you brilliant, Shakirah, because I feel like it has so many like layers to it. Right? It's because you're smart, right? Because you're also, let's say, like, you're great with people. It's a lot of different things about you. So I agree that if someone said, Camille, you're brilliant, I would also be floored and say, like, that would hit me in all the right ways.
I was just like, what? Thank you. And then, we often don't see ourselves the way that people do.
Other people think.
Mean, yeah, like, I know myself to be smart, and certainly I work to be very smart. And when I say smart, I mean like have a knowledge of the world and culture and all of that. And of course, the bookish smart. But for somebody to say you're one of the most brilliant, and I'm like, you know, a lot of people, for me to be in that upper echelon of intellectual acuity is kind of impressive. So yeah, that would be it.
You deserve it.
Thank you.
The more I get to know you, I agree.
Thank you, Camille.
So unfortunately, we have to ask our final question.
Okay.
We want to know, and I'm very actually curious, what is your go-to after hours media? What have you been watching or listening to or reading lately?
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love a good podcast. So I will be listening to this podcast for sure. I love the read, Around the Way Curls, Higher Learning with Rachel and Van. Those are like my top podcasts. Oh, and Scam Goddess, if you ever want to like salacious, like what? Podcast, Scam Goddess.
I'm familiar with Scam Goddess.
Lacey. Oh, we got to talk about Lacey because she's amazing. And then I am watching The White Lotus right now.
As a lot of people are.
And Severance. on Apple TV. Look, all this free promo for them. And then
exactly. I watch both shows too. So, if anyone from their teams are listening to us
and would like to give some ad money, yes, let's do that.
Yes, or if you would like to hear our commentary, just shoot us an email. Exactly.
And then books. Oh gosh, I have like a list of books, but I'm actually reading Professor Monique L. Miller's Slave to Fashion, Black Dandyism, which is the theme of this year's Met Gala. So I've been reading that in anticipation of the theme and how it's going to play out. And I love a good romance novel these days. So I've also been reading Kennedy Ryan's Real.
Okay, so many book recommendations, but obviously this is a podcast, so we've recorded it and I'm going to take notes. I'm always asking people about, what they read and what they're interested in. And I love that there was like in anticipation of the Met Gala, yes. But there's also culture history. There's also, your usual suspects in terms of what people are watching these days, which I also am very fascinated by.
And what are you reading?
I just finished this thriller. I'm a thriller book girly. The Silent Patient.
Okay.
I just finished that. I am in terms of thriller like authors, Frida McFadden, and I know she's popular these days. One of her books is getting turned into a movie, and so but I'm proud to say that I found one of her books. Like I spent a day, inside a bookstore, and I was like, I wanna judge for myself whether I want to read this. And then I found one of her books, and then I was like, I read it overnight. I love a good page turner. That's me in terms of like book genres.
Yes, I love that. I love knowing what people like to read, or like you asked what media to consume, because once I know that about you, I will then be the person who's like, did you see this? And then just randomly sending you books and links.
Oh my gosh, Shakirah. This is the start of our book club. Yes. Move over Reese Witherspoon and Oprah. We will start one. Yes. Don't know what the genre is going to be. It's going to be everything. But Shakirah, this was so lovely.
Yes, I had a wonderful time.
I enjoyed, exchanging recommendations with you. But also, before we let you go, I do want to know if there's something big coming up for you, anything you want to promote that we can share with our listeners.
Well, first of all, Camille, thank you. The brilliance that you see in me is in you. And so thank you for being a reflection of that. To learn more about Fenton, you can go to fenton.com. That's FENTON.com. And if you want to just come find me, I'm around on socials. Shakirah Adiana, ADIANNA.
And the Dope Doula.
And the Dope Doula, yes. Thank you, on Instagram. Please follow me. Learn more about giving birth and birth work and birth equity in the States.
Awesome. Thank you, Shakirah, for doing this with me, and we'll see you again.
Thank you so much.